mentioned your commitment to purpose-driven work, especially during the times at Lockheed Martin and Novartis. So I'm very curious to learn more about how do you ensure that these sense of purposes continues to resonate with your team at Aventiv?
The whole practice of HR is trying to make sure that the right people are in the right positions. And so the profile of how we hire and the pipelines of talents that we build, both for folks that are coming externally into our company as a new job for them, or investing in the folks that have been here a while and giving them career opportunities to advance their careers and contribute differently. That mission purpose is part of the fit and the profile. You know, if we know if you are committed to coming to this company Aventiv and you are committed to staying at this company and you're committed to contributing and understanding the context for, are you supporting we are in HR providing for our product, the people, or are you in a role of actually making the product that our customers and consumers use? Are you part of the product that is connecting with the families and friends and the communities that our consumers need to have that support structure? It's really understanding what drives you at work. Where do you find your reward, your recognition? That purpose driven, finding that in their profile all comes from the selection process, whether it's someone brand new coming or someone being selected to be elevated in their roles, or they're elevated in their opportunities to be contributed. And so it's just very much always being talked about here. And I'm very involved in what that messaging is, but the reinforcement, those contributions do matter. That is how we do our recognition. That is how we do our pay. That is how we do our performance evaluations. So everything in HR says, you know, how you are hired, how you are elevated, how you are recognized, how you are rewarded. Comes from your connection to what it is that you do, but also who you do it.
Yes, amazing. So you mentioned that you joined Aventiv during a significant transformation in 2020, helping to implement cultural changes and focus on the organization for both its customers and consumers. So what were the critical steps that you took to create an environment where employees felt equally engaged in these two areas? So can you please give us an example where you overcame resistance or hesitation, if any, during the initial stage of this cultural shift?
Sure. All change, even good change, is hard. And so communicating the context for what we were looking to change, giving folks that opportunity to provide feedback, both in an unsolicited way, open door. You can come in and knock on my door and say, I would like to see this improvement, but also more importantly, doing structured opportunities, going to where the employees are to meet them where they were at, so they could be involved as much as they wanted to, or in some cases needed to be able to make those changes. Fair chance hiring, and there's a lot of that content provided to you in the IQ. You know, we had gone from a journey of not being a fair chance hire company, and it wasn't a situation where we weren't tracking our fair chance hires. We literally knew that that was a barrier for entry or a barrier for continuing your journey with the company. So we had to really tear up all of our cultural norms, so to speak, of understanding what that profile that I just mentioned was for what it is we were trying to do, to be able to understand the pipeline of talent for fair chance hires, but what it takes for any employee to thrive here. So we redid all of our job descriptions. We redid all of our performance metrics. We redid all of our performance processes, but we also put those feedback loops into place. And whether it's our engagement survey or how many times we are talking in a structured way to our employees, so that we can have those places for people to organically and structurally provide us, do we think it is working or not working? So many
Mm,
changes have happened here. We went from a place where 90% of our work was done inside of an Aventiv owned facility to now being in a place where 90% of our roles are US talent anywhere. I went from having to be responsible as the HR person
mm.
for 7 work sites to having be responsible for 1,400 work sites. And each
Wow.
one of them are important. And you said the word equally. And I would tell you that's really hard. And it's also very
Mm,
subjective. Our focus is being on consistent. How can we
mm,
consistently offer those opportunities for folks to be able to share what's working, focus on what's working, try to make sure we keep doing that which is working, but also give them that opportunity to say when something is not going as intended or something has
mm,
changed. An HR specific example that I can give you is in 2021 and 2022, we were doing quarterly performance reviews because we had made the change and the shift to go from in person to a
yeah.
remote hybrid environment. So, more formal performance reviews were necessary as we were needing more formal check ins. You talked about our
Mm,
Are You OK program, us having a way to have a roll call to be able to
mm,
check in on our employees, whether it was right now we're doing that for all of our folks who are impacted by the potential hurricane in Florida, because 2 of our hub cities are in Tampa and 1 in Miami. And so how do we take care of them, not just in a traditional building, but in now their home, which is also their workplace? How do we make sure they have the systems and the support if they were impacted by a storm is super important to us too. Now we are much better at being a remote work environment. We're much better at understanding how to work in a distributed environment. And so we're back to us just needing the two. So it's the change and the pivot saying more is needed, but also the pivot once it's working to back off from that formality as well, because there are more organic and we're just getting better at learning how to do it well.
mm. Yeah, amazing. So all the initiatives that you've conducted, like the Fair Chance hiring initiatives, or Are You Okay employee wellness and mental health programs, have shown to be very effective. So I'm curious, like moving forward, so how do you plan to involve these initiatives moving forward? For instance, how do you plan to expand the partnerships with other organization or scale the program across to more departments, as you can see at Aventiv?
Well, for fair chance hiring, so 2 different prongs there. For
Yeah.
fair chance
Mm,
hiring, when you go from a 0% hiring to where just this week we are now at 31% of all of our eligible hires are being selected with a fair chance hire, we're not
mm,
going to set a goal for next year because it's not needed now that it is an accepted process. We'll still measure it, we'll still track it, we'll still be able
mm,
to understand the health and the robustness of the pipelines. But we have other talent pipelines we are also going to be focusing on, improving our campus relations strategy, improving our veterans strategy, coming all the way back to the what we just talked about in terms of having the right people in the right positions. So many of the
mm,
jobs that I need to have, because we are a little bit of a Google and a little bit of a Spotify and a little bit of an Amazon in all the services that we provide to folks on the technical side. I don't know that we are right now in the world making the right types of talent that we are needing to be able to keep up with the technology development. So, how do we focus on training. And we can select the right person with the right profile who has a mission oriented heart, but we may need to do a lot more development and training once they've arrived. So, our focus for 2025 is what that 0 to 30 days are going to look like. So, they have the best
Mm,
launching program and be able to learn in the ways that work best for them. But that
yeah.
wellness portion of it is so important. And our team in HR, and I know that's a big focus of what the article that we're working on here is we
Mm,
are actually putting wellness goals, whether it's
yeah.
physical, mental, financial, community, wellness goals through our lens of what we are achieving in the day to day. That drives my HR staff because that gives them a different purpose and a
Mm,
different lens. But as it being an intentional, focused way to be able to set up our methodology is also a great way to evaluate: is it working? Is are we getting what we're needing, and our employees receiving the support that they need as well?
yes. So you mentioned about employee wellness, right?
Yes.
So as we emerge from the pandemic, so a lot of companies are looking to move their employees towards bring. Sorry, a lot of companies are move towards bringing employees back to the office. So, but from in at Aventiv, your approach is quite different in the sense that you still promote remote working and flexible working culture. So, what are some of the benefits or challenges that you've observed in maintaining a hybrid work culture, and how do you plan to sustain this approach? Yeah, in the future. Yeah.
So we have always, throughout even since 2020, had a subset of employees that were going into customer facilities to provide day-to-day support. And we've had certain manufacturing facilities, specifically in our Houston location, where the nature of their work needs to be in person. All right, but that's a small
Mm,
fraction of what we're doing here. The difference for us in the going forward is understanding: is it through distributed work environments? What is the nature of the work that they're doing? Does it benefit from having an in-person meeting or in-person travel, or to be able to be in a place where you are more frequently having those in-person opportunities to be able to balance? But we let the work
mm,
drive it. It's not the schedule that drives it. It's not the proximity to a location that drives it. It really is the nature of what is being conducted in the workplace. I'll give you an example. We are right now getting ready to launch all of the work that's been done this year to have a new ERP system up and running by 2026. All of the planning and all of the coordination for that has benefited by bringing the right stakeholders in for sustained period of times in person, but then they return right back to their work environments to do the daily pieces. And we're letting those big projects and those big initiatives, that nature of their task drive, whether it's in person, is it business travel, is it at home, but also being able to very clearly say this is what your contributions are supposed to be, and being very clear about how we communicate that. So I'll kind of pivot back to my other answer that you had given. You had given me the opportunity to provide clarity on is we had all been
mm,
doing those additional formal performance reviews at the beginning because it was needed. Now that we're seeing that it's not, we've gotten a little away from needing to do the structured. If we're finding as the future pivots, we have the ability to go right back to doing the quarterly performance reviews. Think of it
mm,
like when you visit the bathroom in an airport and it has the happy face, neutral face, smiley face. Same concept, right? So folks know what they're doing to contribute to the overall company success, but also what are they doing in their work environment that contributes to the happy face, neutral face, and smiley face. Because it
mm.
also could depend on the day and the meeting. Like this meeting is giving me a big smiley face.
Mm, yeah. Wow, that's really amazing. So sounds like you've always been at the forefront of several innovative HR initiatives at Aventiv. So I'm curious, how do you stay ahead of all the HR trends and ensure that your strategies are future-proof to meet the evolving needs of your employees and the industry?
I'm very fortunate to have the background of working at Lockheed Martin, which would have a 30-year long-term strategy. It really formed me coming out of the College of St. Mary with my bachelor's in business in a non-traditional student program. And so, learning how to balance both of my needs as a parent, as an employee, and
Mm,
as a student in a non traditional degree, and being at Lockheed Martin with you made 30-year plans. Was just great training ground to be able to understand here is what we think the situation is going to look like and how to plan backwards, but also
mm,
be able to adjust when things are not going as expected or going better than expected. If I would say the places that I have worked at that have not been as successful as what we are here, it's when things start going well that people tend to lean up off the gas versus staying the
mm,
course or trying to get ahead to the next way to be able to pivot. And so my background has really placed me in this position to have that foundational nature. For me, it's also the community of strong women leaders in my
mm,
life and strong women that I look up to as inspiration and HR professionals who have taught me so much, but also being able to share networks that you just really, when you've got a crew of support that will be able to share articles, share best practices, share successes. That has really been the way that I've been able to look at things differently and be able to plan for and pivot as needed.
yeah, that's really amazing. Always surrounded yourselves with the like-minded people
Yeah.
who give you inspiration, but also the market trends as well, so that you can adapt. So as things goes around. So I'm very curious, like within your organization, or more specifically, the departments for your team. So how do you create opportunities for growth, particularly for individuals in leadership roles, because you emphasize the very importance of continuous learning and development. So, can you please share a specific programs or strategies that have been effective in nurturing the leadership talent at Aventiv?
We have established our own inside learning and development program since 2021, being able to put a framework of language so that, words mean things, right? And so being able to make sure that all of the folks who are in all these microcultures also are able to plug into the bigger macro culture. Our management foundations, led by a very talented human on my staff, and delivered by the humans on my staff, to make sure that no matter if you're a field-based, customer-facing leader, your challenges are heard and recognized. But also, if you're an in-office managing the folks that are assembling and distributing devices out of Houston, or if you have a team that's just completely remote, we need to have that same consistent conversation. And watching how many folks have been able to really learn, adapt, and adopt these changes that we have made that have allowed us to go through this transformation, watching them achieve to the next level or be able to raise their hands and say that they want to contribute more or contribute differently. That's really where the real reward has been. But that adoption portion of this change. People want to be a part of what it is that we're doing, and people want to know what's the right way to do it. I think that being
Mm,
mission driven, it makes a real difference for that adoption to those changes that are being made forwards, backwards, upways, sideways, as we
yeah.
continue to be as nimble and flexible as possible.
Yes, that's really amazing. Yeah, so I think that also gives me a very overview of your journey. Hearing first thing from you is very wonderful, I must say. Apart from reading the scripts that you also provided to us, but to also understand more about um, the passion, speak from listening to you at firsthand really gives me even more insights to your story as well, so that we can, as a team, give you a very good draft about your storyline and what you've been through. So I think, yeah, all the questions that we need for the IQ for the interview today. Thank you so much for providing that to us, both in written form as well as in interview form as well. So I think I have everything I need right now for the storyline for the drafting as well. So the next step is that our addition team, will continue with the draft. And as Nicole also pointed out in the previous email, that was still like the photo from you. So I may ask for for you and Nicole to send the photos to us so that we can also insert in the editions. And after we have everything ready, we can send you the first draft for your review and approval as well. Yeah.
Awesome. And it's been, like I said, a
Mm,
smiley face for me today to be able to talk about what my team has been able to do, but what the
mm,
employees have been able to do. And just understanding, you're putting a spotlight on the successes that we have will mean a lot to many people,
mm.
but specifically to me. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much for taking the time to share that with me as well. Yep. Thank you, Gretchen. Thank you, Nicole, for the time. Appreciate it. Yeah.
All right. Take care.
All
Bye.
right. Have a good day. Bye.
Future you, thanks for being awesome. We appreciate you very much. You are great.